Gal Can Cook. My name's Tracy and I'm here with my friend Dr. Gloria, and today we're going to make her amazing recipe of chicken curry. Hi Dr. Gloria, how you doing today?
Hi, sweetie. Good morning. I'm doing great, and I think you're going to be doing great too once you taste my chicken curry. And I wanted to say something, Tracy, because a lot of people think that when you get like in a restaurant, it says chicken curry, that all you can use is chicken. But you can use if you have leftover turkey, you could use leftover turkey. You just do it. It doesn't taste the same if you use like ground meat. You know how you and I do, and we prefer bison and all that. It doesn't work in this. But whether you use the cut up meat like you did and marinate it, or whether you use whole pieces, I have very, what am I going to say, purist Indian friends that would only use like chicken thighs. They wouldn't think of cutting, in pieces. So it doesn't matter. If it's chicken, it's chicken. Okay. But you can also use turkey. And I think a lot of people forget that. I have used a little turkey breast, enough for two people instead of doing a whole turkey. And I still have the leftover turkey and I cut it up and use it in curry. So just so people don't think chicken curry means only chicken, okay?
So if you were to do leftover turkey or something because Thanksgiving, or when you do that, then what do you do about the marinade? Because I've been marinating this all day, since yesterday.
That's a great question. You still marinate it, hon, because the reason for marinating, and two things I always do, right? Brown the onions and the tips of the onions and marinate. And when you marinate, you blend those flavors so that they emerge into the meat. It's not the same as having raw meat, granted, because you're not going to be able to brown it the same. But it's really good. It's a great way of using some leftover turkey, for instance. Cool. Yeah, I've tried it with rotisserie chicken, and I don't like it as well.
So why don't you tell the members what the marinade consists of?
Okay, I've got my recipe right here so I don't forget. The marinade that Tracy mixed was a half a teaspoon of salt, and that you adjust to your taste, or if you're salt restricted, okay? And then she's got a half a teaspoon of ground cumin, quarter teaspoon of ground coriander, a half a teaspoon of ground turmeric, and a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. Or if you want it hot, like my Indian friends always want it, use white pepper. But because that adds that chili flavor to it. But remember that white pepper, when you add it, don't taste it and, put some white pepper in it, taste it and go, no, I need more. Because as it sits in about 5 or 10 minutes, it gets hotter and hotter. And I've had people that have done my classes, they put a whole bunch in, and then they end up not being able to eat it because it's so hot. Kind of like when you put all that hot stuff in your meal for your family.
Yeah.
What was it? The
butter
the
chicken.
Chili okay. And the top came off and you put the whole thing in. That's kind of what happens with white pepper. So be careful. But if you want it spicy, use the black pepper so that it gives it the pepper taste, but the spiciness comes from the white pepper. So then you just toss it real well and set it aside. In your case, you did as I asked you to do. You marinated it because the flavor is so different. So show us the bag with your cut up chicken.
So I cut it up into 1-inch like chunks, and then this has been marinating since yesterday. I just did what you said, and I shake and baked it. Shake it around.
Right, it's exactly what I do. It's also much easier than a big dish in your refrigerator. This way, it's covered, and you can just keep moving it around. Okay, so now what you're going to do is because you already shook it and marinated it all. Now you're going to actually make the curry.
Okay.
You can either saute the chicken now if you want, or you want to make the curry. It's up to you. You're the chef here.
Let's do the curry. I have my blend tech ready to go.
Okay, so in the curry, you add and the ingredient amounts will all be in there, but add the garlic. There, don't you, hon?
6 cloves of garlic.
Okay, so and make sure everybody eats it so that nobody worries about the garlic, okay? When you're talking. So you've got, hold on, let me get to the curry. Then you've got ginger. How much ginger do you have?
Well, the recipe calls for 1 inch, but I did about 1.5 inches because I love ginger.
That's probably what I would have done too. Onion?
1 onion chopped.
Got it. A half a cup of water.
Okay.
And that doesn't have to be exact, but that's just a good way to start. And then blend it until it's smooth, till it's a nice creamy gravy type. Okay, that's what you want. A curry is a gravy type of mixture. So go ahead.
Okay, curry's done. How simple is that?
That's what I mean. Now, the old way that I used to do it was very complicated. And finally, one day I said, I'm throwing this in my Vitamix. The heck with it. And it came out just as good. So that's why I redid the recipe. So, okay, so you've got that made. Now get your skillet nice and hot with you're going to use coconut oil, which is preferred in this.
3 tablespoons. So I put it all in
three,
now?
but again, just, you cook. Some people that don't cook have to have exact measurements. You do cook. So just start out with 2 tablespoons and just make sure that when you put the chicken in, that it's enough that it's all sizzling, okay, so that it browns good on both sides. So go ahead and get that on high.
Okay, so I just want to tell the listeners that I use a cookie scoop. So when I scoop things like coconut oil, I can tell that it's 3 tablespoons because it's 3 scoops. And then that way, this one's reserved in case I need it later.
That's a great idea. So you're telling me the little scoop that you use is 1 tablespoon?
Yeah.
Show it to us if you have it. You have it in the sink?
Yep.
That's a great idea. I always have to worry about how much. Okay, the dough. I call it a dough, like a cookie dough.
Yeah, cookie
gadget.
scoop.
Right, a cookie scoop.
That's what it is. I use this for the yogurt. I use it for like nut butters, coconut oil, regular butter, anything when I'm cooking. Then that way I know exactly how much is in there.
That's a great idea. Thank you. I didn't know it was 1 tablespoon. I have one, but I don't use it for that. Okay, so get your skillet hot. Yeah, get your skillet hot. Make sure that it's sizzly and get it high. Okay, and when the oil, for those of you that are not cooking all the time like Tracy and I do, when the oil starts shimmering, it kind of starts bouncing or dancing. They call it shimmering. You know it's hot enough to put your food in. You don't want to put anything in cold oil. It should be dancing around the pan a little bit. Okay, so yeah, give that another little swirl there in the bag, and so that all the marinade is evenly distributed.
Well, and it's already squished into the meat. There's no marinade left in the bag, that's for sure.
That's good. That's what you want. Now go ahead and throw it all in, and then make sure that you put it in single layers so that it browns really nice, and then you can flip it and brown the other sides. You don't want to pile it, like if you're making it for a large group, you don't want to pile it up because you're never going to get all of them browned. You're going to end up making 2 or 3 batches. This way you avoid all that. So just keep doing that until it's, I'm going to give a little bit of a history about curry. The curry, to me, is like, for all of you that eat authentic Mexican food and know what mole is, M-O-L-E, it's not mole, it's mole with an accent. It is a red sauce that is marinated, that the chicken is marinated in and cooked very similar to curry. And just like mole in the Mexican custom, or a lot of Central Americans use it too, is a little different for every family. It's a family recipe that's handed down generation by generation. And curry is the same way. If you talk to 100 Indian families, they probably have 100 recipes, give or take a little bit of this or that. So when I created the recipe, I had to adapt it because they had a lot of chili and the hot spices that they use in Indian cooking. And we can't have that because we're doing everything anti-inflammatory. So just know that when somebody says curry, it's not like one recipe. It's just a combination of herbs with the meat marinated, much like you would get in a Mexican mole sauce, which I love, but I haven't figured out how to make it without the chilies. And so until I do, I can't have it.
What about using that spice that you told me to get for the taco soup?
Annatto. I'm trying that. It's on my list of recipes to try. I did 3 more new ones this weekend, and I was too tired to try anything else. But yeah, that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to try some annatto, but it has to have something else in order to make it that. And the other thing that I'm experimenting with is the sauce that you use like in enchiladas, which is a ranchero sauce. I almost got it perfected, made it the other day, and it was like, nah, not quite to my standard. So my sous chef and I are going to experiment with it over the next holiday and see if we can perfect it. And I'll send it to you so you can try it and see what you think.
Okay,
But
is
it's great
ranchero
because it's
sauce red or green?
red. You can make it both. The green is green chilies. I'm not making it green because I don't know how to duplicate that yet. But the red one, instead of the tomatoes and the chili, and sometimes they don't have tomatoes, they just have chilies that are ground up like you ground the curry sauce. And that's what they make it, and they thicken it, and they wrap their enchiladas in it. So stay tuned. We'll get to that. I just have to experiment a little bit more to get it to where it passes my my inspection. Is that nice and smooth?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
put it on juice, so it should
Okay.
be. How many minutes do you want me to cook this chicken on each side?
Just until it's brown on both sides, because then you're going to cook it more with the sauce. So just as long as it's, light brown, look and see how it is. And if it's light brown, turn them around so that all sides get brown, and then you can just put the sauce in. And you still have some herbs to add, but we'll do that after we put the sauce and cook it a little bit. Is it browning?
Yeah, I flipped it.
Is it browned enough? Okay, you flipped it.
Yeah.
So, and I know you use a lot of cast iron. I think I told you I just gifted myself the big 5-quart cast iron pot from Lodge. The one that,
see what it looks like.
oh, it's great. I'll send you a picture. We did a funny thing this weekend. I had to show some people from out of the country some things about cooking where I used to teach cooking. And so we put the 4 big skillets that would fit on our electric stove here in the apartment, on there. And we said, meet the iron family. So I'll send you the pictures. I have 4 more pieces, but they didn't fit in there. But it's the big 5 or 6 quart Dutch oven. And the lid is also a skillet with the 2 little handles. So you can, if you have like you're going to scramble an egg or you're going to saute some little thing or warm up something, the lid is also a skillet. So it's really cool.
Clever.
It's Lodge. Very clever. I'll show you the picture and you'll see what I mean.
So would that take the place of a Le Creuset?
Absolutely.
Oh.
I love Le Creuset, but they're all heavy. And my complaint was Le Creuset is great, but it does have the porcelain. It's got that ceramic lining, which I love. I had a lot of that in Ecuador when I was there. I took it with me when I shipped all my things over. But Le Creuset is great. I would not ever say anything negative about it. The problem is that we're all trying to go as natural as possible, and cast iron is about as natural as you're going to get.
Okay, well maybe I need to change my Christmas list, because my boys were going to get me the Le Creuset, but maybe I should look at the cast iron option instead. Yeah,
and you do season yours after you wash them, right? Each time, do you dry them on the stove? Yeah. Do you know why? I didn't know until I watched a Lodge video from Tennessee where they make it. Do you know why you have to dry them on the stove?
Why?
Because let's say you wash your skillet, you get anything that's stuck on or whatever, you put it on the stove until all the water completely dries. There's nothing shiny left. If you put the oil in to season it, before you put it away, it'll absorb into the pores. You want everything to close, all the pores to close in the cast iron. And Lodge is great. They have great little videos, and they even have hints about how their employees store them because they're so heavy. So when I have my new kitchen built for the Institute, it's going to be amazing, because I already know how I'm going to have the cabinet makers build a storage tower for all the heavy cast iron, because I can't lift some of those. Yeah, you should get the cast iron Dutch oven. You'll love it. I'll send you the link.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the meat I think is done.
Okay, now all you're going to do is pour that curry sauce into the pan. Keep your flame high or medium high. Go ahead and pour it all in. And we usually cook it about 5 to 7 minutes. On your stove, it'd probably cook quicker. because you want some of that to evaporate a little bit and start getting thick. I can see the steam. Just don't let it stick. And then you're going to stir in the remaining of your spices. That's all until you serve it. So I think you have everything pre-measured, which is great. Thank you for doing that.
The only spice left was the garam masala.
Yes, but that's a mixture.
Oh, okay. So
that's a mixture.
And
And that garam masala is
coconut milk, the chicken broth.
right, right. And that garam masala is my mixture. So I suggest that when anybody makes this and they love it, make a big canister like Tracy and I do for the golden milk, you know, for all the spices. Make a canister full and date it, because as long as it's in a dark cupboard and it's covered, it'll last for a year. It's not a problem. I don't like mixing all my spices every time. So go ahead. You've got it. You're going to put in the remaining spices. You're adding the garam masala, and it's masala, M-A, not marsala, like a lot of people think it is. And then you're going to blend in the coconut milk you're using, right?
Okay, I want to show something about that. So
is it bubbly?
When people buy coconut milk, what I want to show is at the top is the cream, and at the bottom is the water. So you need to mix it.
And if it's room temperature, you usually don't even have to mix it, where I live in Texas, because it all blends. But when it's winter, you're right, it all goes to the top.
Yeah.
So yes, you do need to.
How much of this do I need?
Okay, do you like a lot of gravy like I do, or very little? Do you like your chick? You like a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, I would go ahead and start out with half of a can, and let it boil a little bit and see how you like it. If you want more, I usually put in the whole can, but it depends on how much juiciness you want. So now, is it getting thick? Is it boiling down a little?
Well, I turned it down a little so it didn't splash at me when I, was doing everything.
Okay, but is it like bubbling enough that it's starting to reduce a little?
No, not yet.
The sauce?
It will.
Not yet. Okay.
Because I turned it down.
Now, okay, now here's the difference too. You have chicken broth there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Depending on how much liquid you want in your curry, you can add either just water or chicken broth. I always add just chicken broth. I never use water and things like that. Even when I cook rice, it's always chicken broth. So you can add chicken broth to your desire to make it soupy.
When you add your can of coconut milk, be sure to add 1.5 cups of chicken broth so you have lots of extra sauce.
So what you're going to do is, as soon as it's nice and hot and bubbly and it starts to reduce, you're going to cover it so that everything cooks. And then at the end, I think you've put everything in, haven't you? Except maybe cilantro?
I still have yogurt and cilantro.
Okay, yogurt is for serving it. The reason they use yogurt when they serve Indian dishes is because most of them are so spicy hot. The yogurt on your plate, like when you get a real mouthful of spice, you take a little yogurt and it calms down that fire. The cilantro, if you add it and let it cook and cook and cook until your dish is ready, you lose a lot of the flavor from the cilantro. So cilantro should always be right at the end, like the last 5 to 10 minutes of cooking. You put in your chopped cilantro, and I guess, do you have some chopped or just the fresh you have there?
I just have that right now.
Okay, so why don't you chop that while we're talking? Well, that's cooking, because you're going to need a bunch of it. And that's from your garden, I'm assuming.
No, I can't grow cilantro. I love cilantro.
Why can't you grow it?
It just doesn't grow well.
Really? Because you're trying to grow it outside. You're trying to grow it outside.
Yeah.
Doesn't grow outside in Northern California. You need to grow it inside.
Oh, okay. So
because remember, I told you, just chop the heck out of it. That's what I do with the scissors. It's easier than using the knife. Just chop away. And then once you know the chicken is cooked, the sauce is starting to thicken. So about 10 minutes or so before you serve it, you throw in the cilantro and stir it, and you're done.
Okay.
Now, if I had made that, I would have, because we're doing it for, for demonstration, I would have made it the night before, because I very seldom eat anything the first day. I did make my pad thai recipe yesterday, and we ate it, and both of us turned around, looked at each other, and said, "It'll be better tomorrow."
Gosh,
So
I
we'll
gotta
have it
start
again
eating
tonight.
that. Well,
Yeah,
I was planning
it's
on
so much
eating
easier.
tomorrow.
You need to do it. You need to make 2 or 3 dishes in advance, stick them in your refrigerator, and you'll be happy you did, because all the flavors just intensify so well. When I made like the stuffing for Thanksgiving, I make all my mixture the day before, cover it, stick it in the refrigerator, and it's all ready for the next day. I mean, celery and onion and garlic and everything I put in it is all done the night before, not the day I'm going to use it for the turkey, because
Do
it
you
just
do
tastes
the
completely
bread
different.
and everything already in it?
We do the gluten-free bread ourselves. We cut it up in little squares, bake it until it's crispy like croutons, and then we mix everything in there, all the
So you
onions and
mix
garlic. I
everything
have
up
the recipe.
Wednesday, though, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, I do it on Wednesday, and I make it the way my grandmother did in South America. We use an organic pork sausage that we saute with onions and garlics ahead of time, and then I mix it all into the dressing, and it gets refrigerated overnight. So all it does is get baked on the day that I want it.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter if it's cornbread or if it's gluten-free bread, I still make it the day before. Yes.
Okay.
Are you making stuffing?
So I use, and they just want regular. So what I do is I already started it. I take 2 loaves of bread, 1 white, 1 wheat, and I just lay them out on a tray and leave them out and let them dry for 3 days.
Oh yeah, no, we bake ours in the oven and they come out like croutons. I mean, we cut them up in little squares and make it like croutons. And then I do what you did with the bag. I put a bunch of herbs: rosemary, thyme, marjoram. There's 4 herbs: rosemary, thyme, marjoram,
Sage.
and sage. Thank you. Plenty of sage. And I mix it all up with the breadcrumbs afterwards, and then add some more to the actual dressing mixture, and it's delicious. Just mix it all up together so they blend. You're going to get to where you won't want something the same day you cook it, unless you're in a hurry and that's all you can do. I bet. Check your chicken. See how it's doing. Is the sauce getting a little thicker or reducing?
Yeah, it's reducing a little bit.
Okay, so it'll have to be, I don't know that you're going to be able to finish it to test it, but the chicken is probably cooked by now. You've had it on medium high, haven't you? Have you had it on medium high?
Yeah, it's on pretty high. It's pretty high.
Okay, why don't you take a spoon and taste the sauce? Don't taste the chicken yet, because I'm not sure it's cooked all the way through. Just don't burn yourself like both of us are guilty of doing. But putting it over vegetables is a great idea, because a lot of people don't eat meat.
You mean rice?
No, but I mean the sauce by itself.
Instead of doing chicken.
No. Well,
yummy.
yeah, you can do that. Is it good? Are the flavors intense? Can you really taste them?
Very good.
Yeah. And it's not, you shouldn't taste like just the garlic or just the turmeric. It should be a really nice melding of all of these flavors. That's what curry should be. Is it that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't distinguish one flavor over another.
Okay, so how much longer do you think you have to cook it? Because what would you cook chicken? I mean, chicken usually takes me about 35, 40 minutes. It just has to, you have to make sure it's cooked.
Okay, don't laugh. I don't have a lid for this huge cast iron, so I use this.
A lid for every size of large cast iron. And I even have what they call the cowboy skillet, or a chicken fryer. It's real deep. It's amazing, instead of a wok or when you're going to stir fry. That's what I did my pad thai in yesterday. And they have a lid for it. You can buy the lid separate. It's not expensive. Okay,
so how do you want me to check if the chicken's ready?
The chicken should be ready. Look and see. Make sure it's tender. Stick a knife or a fork in it. Make sure it's tender. If it's not tender, it's not cooked.
Okay.
And you don't have to take a lot out. You can just take out a little serving to put on a plate and show our audience what it looks like with the curry. I love that she improvises like I do. She doesn't have a lid, so she uses a baking sheet. I mean, you don't have to have every single piece of equipment that we have as cooks. But I suggest that when you do buy a new skillet, especially if you're buying cast iron, buy the lid that goes with it. It's worth it. They're heavy duty. They're made by the same company that makes the cast iron, and they've made it for over 100 years. If you go online to, and I have nothing to do with the company, to lodge.com, LODGE, or Lodge Cast Iron, I think it is.com, you'll see their history and their factory in Tennessee. It's amazing. I have plans to tour their factory next year, along with 2 or 3 of my chef interns. Okay, so you may not be able to eat that right now. So what you would do is plate it, and you would put the cilantro in the last 10 minutes or so, okay? And then you would plate it on top of, I would serve it over rice, either jasmine rice or basmati, and then a little bit of yogurt on the plate so that you can calm down any heat. But even if you don't have heat, it's delicious. The yogurt goes with the curry spices. If you're going to use it as a vegetarian dish, same thing. You want a little yogurt for that balance of flavor from the real spiciness, not spiciness and hot, but spiciness and intense aromas and flavors of the Indian spices.
If you want to have regular rice, this is a really good alternative for us low carb eaters. It is made with hearts of palm. You can get it at Whole Foods or Amazon or whatever. And it only has 2 net carbs per container. Per serving. And there's 3 servings per container. So it's really low carb, but it gives you that rice texture. And so it just
I need to try that.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I need to try it. You're the one that told me about it. I haven't ordered it yet, but I need to try it. Be a good alternative for that. For me, when I have curry, I want it with the basmati or the jasmine rice. But there's people that can't have it. I can't have it very often because I'm diabetic. So this would be a good alternative, like for the second serving, to put the sauce on without giving myself a double dose of rice, which is carbs that converts to sugar. So that's a great suggestion. And for all of those out there that don't want to have rice or can't, some people are allergic to it, this would be a great alternative, as long as you're not allergic to palms. Oh, it does look like rice. Yeah. Yep. Looks just like rice. Good. Thank you. That's a great suggestion. Okay. So I think you can put the cilantro in now. Now, is that already cooked?
Yeah. It's ready to go. So I'll throw
but you'd want to heat it.
So adding the cilantro and stirring it up. Look how nice and brown the chicken is. And the sauce is reduced down to like nothing.
Okay, good. Do you see what I mean about sometimes I have to add more chicken broth because I want more sauce and it goes away. It just kind of absorbs. Okay, and then a little yogurt and you've got chicken curry.
Okay. Look how
Let's see it, dear heart. Try it. See what you think.
I don't want to burn my tongue off.
Well, cut a piece off, a little piece. Those pieces are too big.
Fantastic.
Do you want more sauce in your dish?
What?
You want more sauce?
Yep.
Then you probably should add some more chicken broth and let it boil down a little.
Okay.
And that'll help cook the chicken more too.
No, chicken's perfect.
So is that a winner?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. So there again, see, people don't realize that it absorbs everything, and so they think, oh, that's a lot of liquid. No, it's not. You want it to go down to about half of what you start with, and then once it reduces, add more chicken broth, and then that way it continues to reduce and you get as much gravy as you want.
Well, this is definitely a keeper. Okay,
So
I'm gonna make some more
I want to know
sauce.
how you like the flavor. Yeah,
I'll
make
do-
some more sauce and then serve it over vegetables the way you would eat it, and then let us know how you like it over just vegetables.
This
A
is
winner?
up there with my favorite with the pad thai.
That's what I thought. Good. And see, years ago when I was teaching this, oh my God, we had to do this, and then you brown this, and then you sauté this. And I just thought one day, screw it. It's too much work. I'm going to find an easier way. And that's why I started using the blender for the sauce, because it really works.
It was perfect.
Another thing you might like, because you like onion and garlic a lot like I do. Another thing that might work is add more onion. Sometimes I put 2 great big onions because I want more onion. Garlic, you have plenty, but put more onion. The more onion you put in, you can put it into the chicken rather than blend it so that you have a little bit of chunks into the curry, into the sauce. You don't have to blend it all. You can put some extra and just put it in, even more garlic if you wanted, and make it a little chunky, when you put it into the sauce. Well, and you can brown it with your chicken. That's a wrap. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G.
You're welcome. Thanks for being such a good sport.